Hi, and welcome to my channel where I love to do all types of DIYs, everything from home updating projects to budget-friendly DIY home decor. If these are things you're interested in, then I hope you will consider hitting that subscribe button and become part of my DIY family.
Okay, so I picked these wooden wreath bases up from the Dollar Tree, and they measure 12 by 12 inch, and I am going to be using 2 of them in this project. I've also got a 12-inch wood round. I picked these up in a 12 pack from Amazon, and I will list the link in my description box in case you're interested. And then I'm going to be using some 16mm beads that I also picked up from Amazon. Of course, you are more than welcome to purchase these anywhere that you want. I know Dollar Tree sells some in the strands, which I've got some right here. You could always use something like that if you don't mind smaller beads, but I want to use the 16mm. And then I will be using hot glue, and I always use the Gorilla Glue hot glue. I just find that it works pretty well as far as holding up. And then you're just going to see me with this little Dollar Tree basket, and I'm just going to put some beads in there. And one other thing you are going to need is I picked this vase up. I guess it's a vase, candle holder maybe. I don't know. I had never seen one of these just like it at the Dollar Tree, and I saw it and I thought, oh, that's really nice.
And the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and paint the wood round in white color, and I'm using the Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. And then I'm just going to use my heat gun to dry it down.
All right, and I am going to go ahead and paint the back as well. I'm going to make sure I get these edges just in case you can see them.
Then I'm just going to take those 2 wooden wreath bases and paint those in the same color.
Okay, and I'm going to set these aside and grab my little flat one once again. And I have got these napkins. I picked these up in a package from Amazon. I will also link those in the description box, but I thought they were gorgeous. And so I'm going to take one of these napkins. We're going to decoupage that to that wood round. And I'm just going to use some painter's tape to get these plies apart. Well, shoot, it stuck to my finger. Okay, so I forgot to hit record, and all I did was Mod Podge this down, and I just used the mini heat press, but you can use any iron that you prefer. I use Deco Art's Decoupaged napkin because it's got a sealer in it. I decided to give it a try, but I put a coat on, dried it with my heat gun, placed the napkin down, and then pressed with my heat press to reactivate that decoupage. And then I put 2 coats of the sealer on top of it, drying in between coats. All right, and that's what we got. It's so pretty. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to place one of these rings right on top of it. Okay, so I'm going to use some clear grip Gorilla Glue. Easy for you to say. Gorilla Glue. I'm just going to put that in a few different spots. And I'm going to use my glue gun. And then push this on there. And if you don't want to use hot glue, you could always just use the either Gorilla Glue or E6000 and just put the clips around the edges just to make sure it's all set up. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my beads. I'm going to not paint them. I'm going to leave it natural, see how that looks, and just start placing them around. I'm going to space them out just a little bit. think I poured out the exact amount of beads that I'm going to need? Let's see. Well, I did. How often does that happen? All right, and then I'm just going to hot glue those beads in place. Okay, the next step is to put the other ring on the top of the beads.
And then I'm just going to use some Gorilla Glue, and I'm just going to place sporadically on top of those beads, and then I will finish it off by applying some hot glue to the remainder.
And I'm going to flip it upside down while it's drying. Put some little paint cans around there, and I'm going to let that sit for a minute. While that's setting up, need to go ahead and paint this jar. Okay, I'm going to take this tag off. I'm going to take some Goo Gone just to get that up. Then I am going to take some alcohol, spray this all around there, and use lint-free wipe to wipe it off. I use a coffee filter. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to put some gloves on just so I don't get any fingerprints on our clean glass.
And then using the same white paint, I am just going to give this, ends up being 2.5 coats.
I'm not going to paint the bottom of it because we're going to be gluing that to our tray anyway. All right, I'm going to take another napkin, and I do have a water pen, and I'll go ahead and link this in the description box. But if you do a lot of Mod Podge or decoupage, like I love to decoupage. You guys that have been following me since the beginning, you may realize that I do love a good decoupage project. But I did go ahead and get one of these. They're not very expensive, but man, it sure is a lot easier than having to keep dipping your paintbrush. But I'm going to go ahead and get this layer peeled.
And then I am just going to take some pieces off the napkin that I'm going to decoupage to the bottom of the tray on that glass piece. And I ended up doing this size and needing 4 of them. And to apply the decoupage, I'm just going to use a paintbrush, put a layer down onto the glass surface, and then take that napkin and set it down gently. And then I'm going to use that cling wrap and gently dab down, kind of pushing just a little bit of pressure and getting those air bubbles out and smoothing that napkin out. And then once it's finished, I am going to apply a couple coats of decoupage to the entire surface. And then on the bottom of the wood piece that we made, I am going to find center. And then I'm just going to draw a circle where I found center, because otherwise I will lose my place. And then I'm just going to take some Gorilla Glue and hot glue combination and apply to the bottom of our glass piece.
All right, this project is done. Look at that, so pretty. And you can do this in so many different styles. Oh, you can make it more rustic looking. You can paint it black with the natural wood beads, would be beautiful. It's endless of what you can come up with for these. But here's the finale. Okay, this next one, cut this off, get rid of that tag. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and paint this white. I'm just using the white from Waverly. Then I got this little round piece here, and they come in like a pack of so many. I cannot remember exactly how many. You can find them at Hobby Lobby in the woodpile area. They're not very expensive, but this measures about almost 3¼ inches in diameter. And I am just going to paint it white as well.
And then I'm going to take some antiquing wax from Waverly, and I am going to apply that to those rings, wiping it off with a moist paper towel. And we're just going to create a faux wood stain look. And I'm sorry about the noise in the background, but those cicadas are all over the place here in Kentucky. And then we're going to let that dry. All right, now if you want to leave it the wood stain look, feel free to, but with what I'm going to do, I just thought it was too much brown. So I'm just going to take some more of that white chalk paint, and I am going to give it a fairly thick coverage of a dry brush technique.
All right, that looks better to me. And you can really do it any kind of paint you want. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a wood block, put this little round piece on it, and I'm going to drill a hole in the center. I'm going to take a piece of painter's tape, set it over the center. And I'm just going to take a drill bit and drill a hole in it. And then peel that tape back off. Now I've got some wired jute cord. This is essentially going to end up in the center, okay? And I am going to take this cord, I've already got some opened, and I am going to do a little shape like so. Hold it at the top, kind of shape it. When I have as much as I need, I'm just going to trim that off. Sometimes I have to use both there.
And then you're just going to want to cut 11 pieces of the jute cord to match the size of the first one, since now we know that'll work. And then I'm just going to take some hot glue, and on each side of what we cut, I'm just going to put some hot glue. That way that jute material doesn't unravel from the wire.
All right, so I am going to take all of these pieces and just kind of shape it. And I'm just going to go ahead and make those to go all the way around. However many you want to use, it's completely up to you. So essentially what we're going to get is something that looks like this. Okay, and carefully I am going to use a drop of hot glue and put my first one up to it. And you're going to have to be patient because you're going to want this to dry before you let go. And I'm just kind of pushing it in there at the top.
And then we're just going to do that all the way around, making sure you let that hot glue dry in between each piece. But before it does, just kind of wipe away any of the over excess amount of hot glue. You guys know what I'm trying to say.
So I am going to flip this over. There's a ring back under there in the center.
And then once that's flipped over and centered, we're just going to take that burlap cord at the ends there and just hot glue them to that smaller wood round piece. Just getting up under there, pushing it down firmly, just making sure it all sticks around and avoiding gluing over that hole that we drilled.
All right, and once those are down, I'm just going to take even more hot glue. I'm just going to take a buttload of it. Should have paid attention to not glue that center, but that's okay. And I'm just going to put another one of those little wood rounds right on top. And I am going to push it down firmly. And you can feel the heat coming through that wood. It's warm, but it's not too terribly hot. But if you have real sensitive hands, maybe just put a little silicone mat over top of it, push down, or a cloth or something.
Before I flip that back over, I am just going to secure this piece a little bit better by applying some hot glue on the top there on the jute cord shapes that we made. Trying not to put too much because I don't want it to drip around to the front.
All right, once that reinforcement's dry, we can flip it over. And then I got one more step here. And I've got the succulent, got it from the Dollar Tree, and I got it this year. I actually had a whole bunch of them at my store, and they were so pretty. I'm just gonna pull the stem off. And it still has a little nub. That little nub is gonna go through here, hopefully, which I've probably got too much hot glue right there because I didn't pay attention. Like I said, make sure you pay attention to that. So I'm going to take my drill again and just lightly get through some of my hot glue mess here. And put my board under there just in case. Because I know me, I'll put a hole in this table in a heartbeat. All right, I'm going to go all the way through it. All right, that fits in there now. And I'm going to take some hot glue, squeeze it in this hole, and then push my flower in there. You can see it coming through the back there. Oh my gosh, guys, isn't that gorgeous? I'm making this for my daughter. I think she'll love it. Now, just to figure out a way to hang it up, you could always also, that I might do, some of these little hairy pieces, I'm gonna kind of singe off with my lighter, but be very careful. I could have done this before I put the succulent on, but that's okay. Just be very extra careful. This will also get some of that hot glue off of there. I'm gonna hold this up just to get an idea of when she hangs it on the wall, prettiest angle, because it's not completely centered, but I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of this wired jute cord and just make a little hanger. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off. And you should probably do this before you put the succulent on. I'm just gonna twist the bottom there and put my little finger protectors on and put some hot glue on the end of that. Keep it from unraveling. Okay, let that set up. And I'm just gonna put a hot glue right there. Set that in there. Hold it in place. I'm gonna trim that off. And then just put a little more hot glue on there. Then it's all finished. Now let's go hang it on the wall. Okay, on this wooden wreath base, I'm going to make another wall decor, kind of to match the first one that we made. And in addition to that, I've got 14 16mm beads here. And then I've got some wood flowers. Some I've painted in the past. And I've actually got to paint a couple of these. I want 2 of them to be just in their natural state. So I'm going to leave 2 in their natural state. And then I'm going to go ahead and color these 2. And I had a subscriber say that she would like to see me on how I painted these. So that's what I'm going to do right here. I've got just a little bit of water in this little cup. Any paint color of your choice. I've got this acrylic. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use the greener shade or the blue, but I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the bluer shade and hope I have enough. And then I am just going to pour that in the water. Stir it up. And I'm just going to grab my little tweezers here. I'm just going to dip these in here. Just kind of rolling it around. I have used chalk paint with this method, which is this color here. I think I used the elephant color by Waverly, and it turned out just fine. And if you want it a darker shade, you're going to need more paint than I've got here. I just want kind of a light shade. And then after this dries, you can redip them as well. I'm just going to sit on a napkin and let them dry. And it shouldn't take too long. It dries pretty quick with that acrylic paint. All right, we'll set those aside for now. And in the meantime, I'm going to take this little wooden round piece and I am going to paint this white.
And then I'm just going to do the same technique I did on the first wall decor that we made previously. And that way I'm not going to show you everything since it's a little bit more in depth on that project. Then I'm going to take those beads and hot glue them together. Just make sure all those holes are going in the same direction. And we're going to do that to as many as we need, so it will go from one end to the other of that wood round base. And then we're just going to hot glue those beads to the wood base. And then I'm just going to go along that back side and put a little more hot glue just for better security.
Let that sit up. All right, let's check on our flowers. All right, these are pretty much dry. The stem's a little wet, but it's okay. That's what they look like after the first coat. So I'm going to go ahead and dip them one more time. And if you wanted to hang these up to dry so they get a little more even dry, you could always put a clothespin on the end of them and just hang them on some string or something. All right, let that coat dry. All right, looks like our beads are dry and they're nice and secure. All right, and I've got some of these bamboo skewer sticks that I'm going to be using. And the pointed side, I'm just going to poke on in that flower. Just like so. Okay, while I'm waiting for those other flowers to dry, I'm going to go ahead and put the hanger on. And I'm just going to use the same type of hanger with the wired jute cord. Flip it around to the back. All right, and we'll let that dry. All right, we'll flip that back over. That's what I got so far. And I just took my little heat gun and dried these, which seem to work fine. They're still a little damp, but I'm going to put them on some long skewers. I started out putting them on the smaller ones, but I want to be able to trim them. Alrighty. And I'm thinking I probably should have waited to put those flowers on the sticks. Yeah, because it's going to be long. But I'm going to trim these down a little bit. I swear it does not matter how big of a disc you have to work on. It's never big enough. All right, so I know I want this big one in the center. I'll take these stems back off. I think it'll be easier to put this in with them off. Take my bead box here and I'm just going to set it right there. Kind of lift it up a little.
And then we're just going to put those flowers back on there.
All right, I'm just going to take some hot glue, put it on the stem, and then put it in the hole and hold it till it sets up.
And then we'll just do that to all the stems. And then trying just to wipe up as much of that excess hot glue.
So now I am going to want to trim these. Now these two on the ends are kind of touching, so I'm just going to put a dab of hot glue. Just help give it a little more support. All right, so I have got some of these, don't know what are they, floral. They're dried floral. I had picked up from Hobby Lobby back when my daughter got married. They're the smelliest things I've ever bought, but it's okay. They don't smell as bad as they did when they were new. I'm going to use some of these just to give it a little bit of grassiness to it, I guess you could say.
And there really is no rhyme or reason to where you put these. Just put them to wherever you think it's going to look nice.
All right, and there it is. And I think this would be beautiful with dried flowers instead of the wood flowers. That would be gorgeous. I just didn't have any on hand. And I've got a whole lot of these wood flowers left, so might as well use what I got. But that is it. What do you guys think about that? All right, that was today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, and you stuck around this far, leave me a little heart emoji. And I'd like to say welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I hope I can live up to your expectations. I sure will give it my all. And I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.